This week's conversation centers around the federal agents in Minneapolis who shot and killed Alex Pretti. The fellows again talk about trigger-happy policing and describing the agents' actions. They discuss how the Trump administration immediately sought to make the narrative its own. They discuss the administration's hypocrisy on the Second Amendment and the federal agents' lack of compassion. What's going on, Keith?
Hey, TC, what's going on? Hey, Mike.
What's going on, Mike?
Hey, TC. Hey, Keith. One battle after another.
Yeah, it is.
One battle after another.
That's it.
That's
brother.
all I can say.
I mean, we were prepared to talk about a ton of other things, but, I mean, a week goes by and we cannot reflect on what has happened in the past that has now been part of our future. And here we go again, basically.
Yeah.
I predicted it. It probably was the easiest thing ever to predict. I said there's always going to be something to talk about.
Yeah.
In this current administration, hey, they're going to keep us talking and try to divert our attention from some of the other things that we really want to know about. So, the plan is the plan, and they're making it work.
Last episode, trigger-happy policing. Mm-hmm. And I hate the fact that I would have to say this is part 2 of that because of what's happened within the last week. I don't want to label this episode that. I don't want to say that because then that sets a precedent saying that this is going to be the thing that's going on. And in some kind of way, this has got to get under control. I saw a ton of videos since the incident, and then I've seen even more videos since I saw those videos. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I didn't see initially was a person that was inside of the car right in front of the incident that was happening. She had a good view from her perspective, and then of course the views from the other people that are standing off to the side. When they pushed the lady down, he was trying to assist the lady. I guess I should mention Alex Pretti. Say that we're discussing what happened to him last weekend, Saturday.
Say his name.
Yeah. Say his name. I'm just like totally outdone. Here we are trying to have conversations about Pistons and University of Michigan basketball and how kids in high school are getting NIL money, and we find ourselves talking about current events that are just tragedies that have taken place. I thought the guys who did the shooting were ICE, but apparently they're Custom Border Patrol, CBP, which generally their jurisdiction is within 100 miles of the border.
Right.
And so being in Minnesota, they're close to Canada, but they're 300 miles away from Canada.
Exactly.
I don't understand how that reinforcement, I guess, for the federal government, I guess they didn't have enough ICE agents to complete the mission of grabbing people off the streets. But here's the thing. My eyes saw what I saw. And I was looking at something. I don't know if you guys remember George Orwell, 1984.
Yes.
Absolutely, 100%.
And it ties back into what Mike was saying not too long ago about the deceiving. But check this out. There's a quote there's a line inside the book. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and your ears. It was their final, most essential command. And if all others accept the lie which the party imposed, if all records told the same tale, then the lie passed into history and became truth. Mike Miller, tell me it's not true. Did my eyes deceive me?
No, 1 + 1 is still 2. 1 + 1 is still 2. And no, your eyes did not deceive you. The untrained savages that inhabit ICE and apparently CBP now murdered him in cold blood right in front of everybody because they're operating with impunity. Nobody is holding them accountable individually. What we have now is the reason that you have so much outrage now is because, and I'm going to say it because it's been said before, not by me, a white male was killed in the street. it wasn't this. It was a lot of outrage when Miss Good was killed. But this, and of course, this is the second one, so I could see this taking it over the top. But it's not, it doesn't go unnoticed that it's a male this time, lawfully carrying a gun with his permit, and I guess he did plan to go to the protest. At first, I didn't know that he actually did plan to attend that protest, and he did, apparently, from the statements that his parents are making. So he went to the protest, but he obviously didn't pull his gun out. And so for the CBP savage to start yelling, gun, 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 if that's all it takes is for one of them to yell gun and they all start shooting, what's next?
Yeah. Well, right now, they're slowly checking off the removal or treading on our amendments, our 10 amendments of the Constitution out there, and they're slowly trumping on them. The First Amendment, freedom of speech, and then the right to bear arms, number two. Search and seizure. I mean, they're just slowly checking these things off.
Well, the thing about number 2 is they're getting pushback on that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's why it's an uprising.
Yeah. Right, because who has the power? The NRA.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until they came out and said, whoa, player, back off. You can't do that.
Yeah.
That's when he starts saying, oh, I'm going to tone it down a little bit. Right. Because who makes up the NRA? Yeah, that's who makes it up. Yeah. Right.
I mean, they before this. I mean, in their protests or their rebellion against our protests, they were carrying open arms.
Exactly.
Open firearms.
Exactly. Right. And being applauded for it.
Yeah.
Yet when Pretti shows up, didn't even pull his arm out. Oh, he had magazines. He went there to kill the agents. He went there to cause chaos.
He called him a
massacre.
Domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Lies just started flying out of their mouths.
Yeah.
And that's the way that fascists operate.
What about that young man from Wisconsin? Was Tyler something? Was his name?
The black guy?
No, the white kid with the AK or whatever rifle.
Right, the rifle.
Chest.
Yes.
At a protest.
Yes. Right.
And they didn't kill people.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
For sure. That's the hypocrisy of the movement, the Republican Party as it stands today. I mean, again, they will try to set a narrative that makes us believe that we're seeing something that we didn't see, or even more importantly, that we didn't see something that we did see. Everybody who has eyes, hell, Stevie Wonder could tell you that this was just blatantly wrong, that the way that they did Mr. Pretti, Alex Pretti, in terms of him trying to defend a woman. And first and foremost, I just think that, and I know you have a job to do, but these guys are so weak that they think nothing of pushing down women, old men, old women, I mean, children. They have no humility. They have no regard, no compassion for humans or anybody who's not a part of their movement. And so the hypocrisy that's coming out of the movement when you have the president and the vice president and the leader, Kristi Noem, coming out and painting a false narrative before any investigations are held, before anybody can come with any verifiable data to suggest otherwise. Basically what they're saying is, don't believe what you see. Don't believe the fact that you saw those guys push a woman down. You saw Mr. Pretti come to her aid. You then saw them pepper spray both the woman, I don't know the woman's name, but Alex Pretti. And then they tackled him. And they're saying that he resisted, but you got 4 or 5 guys tackling you. Are you supposed to just lay down on the ground and take the hit? They tackled him, and then they grabbed him, and his arms were out front, so you could clearly see that he wasn't reaching for a gun, nor did he have a gun. He had his phone in his hand. And shortly thereafter, I don't even think I saw his phone. It probably dropped or they knocked it out of his hand. But one of the guys is, pepper spraying him and then hitting him in the face with the can.
Yeah, with the can.
And then you clearly see where he did have a gun holstered, and they were able to grab his gun and pull it out. And then the guy behind him, the guy who initiated all of this in the first place, he came out with his weapon and clearly shot Mr. Pretti in the back a couple of times. And then there were two officers who dislodged their guns. And in totality, there were 10 shots fired at this one defenseless man. So, I mean, how many shots does it take really to kill a person? One, but were they ever at risk? Were they ever in jeopardy to the point where they felt like they needed to fire a second shot, let alone 9 more shots? And so it's just really hypocrisy that suggests that here's a man who came within his rights to carry. He had his CPL, and he wasn't brandishing it as they suggested. And yet you felt compelled to kill this man, to murder this man in cold blood, even though he was, in effect, defenseless. Yes, he had a gun, but after you took that gun from him and had him on the ground, he was defenseless at that point. And I don't care how many people yelled, gun, 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 gun. Now, protocol doesn't call for you to just start haphazardly firing shots into somebody's body.
Right.
And that's the shame of it. And Mike, you make a good point. You hate to always make this about race. But I just really, sometimes I flip the script and I try to think of if either of those two individuals who were murdered, in all due respect, and not minimizing the fact that they were murdered and they should not have been, but if they were brown skinned, whether it be Mexican, black, whatever, Indian, whatever, would there have been such a hue and cry as it stands? But the beauty of it is that the people of Minneapolis are coming out in full force. They didn't know that these incidents were going to occur. So they came out to defend their city and state and to try to get ICE the hell out of Minneapolis. And as a consequence of that, these rowdy, non-trained officers, as you stated, Mike, are in bulldogging and just running roughshod over the city, just taking advantage and brutalizing people, have murdered 2 innocent people. And it's just it's really a shame. It's a shame.
There's a third person. You brought it up, Keith. There's a third person. Keith Porter Jr., a 43-year-old father of 2, was shot by an off-duty ICE officer, ICE agent. I'm sorry, because ICE does not have officers.
Agents. You're right.
Let's be very clear.
That's
let's
true.
be very
no
clear.
Officers.
Right. There are no officers. They're agents.
That's true.
And this happened in California on New Year's Eve. Okay, he was shooting a gun into the air. You know, New Year's Eve, midnight, and this ICE guy heard the shots, saw him, ran over there, told him to put his gun down. He didn't, and he just opened fire on him and shot him. And he has no jurisdiction. You know, he should have called the police.
Wow.
But because people were shooting guns all over there. So what? Yeah, if you want to call the police on them, that's what you do. You do not have authority to open fire on people, you know, that you don't have a warrant to go and arrest, a judicial warrant to go and arrest.
Exactly.
So, that was in Northridge, Los Angeles, after this guy shot him. But at any rate, a black guy has been shot and killed by an ICE officer. Okay. I said it again. I'm sorry. By an ICE agent. And that was New Year's Eve. And it's not getting a lot of press.
Right.
It's not getting. In fact, I didn't know anything about it until earlier today.
Wow.
I did hear. Now that you mentioned it, I did hear about it, but I heard about it in conjunction with the 2 deaths in Minneapolis.
Okay.
It's kind of an aside, you know, just to mention that. Yeah, there. And in total, I think there's been at least 6. Because there are deaths that we're not hearing about.
Right.
Of people who are in custody.
Right.
And there's no explanation to how they're meeting their demise. And so these guys have carte blanche to do whatever it is they want to do. And the President of the United States, the fascist in chief, is looking the other way. In fact, he is the one who's given them that authority to be able to operate above the law.
So is there going to be an investigation, or is this one being swept under the table also? And then is there accountability?
Accountability and swept under the table. It's already started with the gun that was used. Do you know what they did with that gun?
I hadn't heard.
They threw the gun in the back of one of the cars. They unloaded it, cleared it. They didn't put it in the evidence bag. They didn't date it. They didn't say what it was. There was no chain of custody. So already this reeks.
They were asking about where's his phone is at. Where was his phone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where is his phone?
Yeah.
Again, no chain of custody.
Yeah.
Right. No securing of the crime scene, because it's a crime.
Mm-hmm.
No securing of the scene. No chain of custody of evidence. Just, I don't care. So
they're protecting their own.
Correct. So they'll cover it up. They'll do anything they want to. They don't care. Right. They don't care. That's why they cover their faces. A bunch of cowards. That's why they cover their faces.
Now, the commander, Gregory Bonvino, he's been relocated and demoted, supposedly. Right. Do you think it'll reach Kristi Noem for accountability?
No, because the fascist-in-chief was interviewed, and I like that term. I'm going to keep using it, Mike. You kind of got me. I'm focusing in on that. That fascist-in-chief has gone on the record as saying she's doing a good job. So do you get it? Do you get rid of anybody, Tom, who's doing a good job?
No, you don't.
No. Now there have been some Democrats and Republicans who are calling for her
impeachment.
Yes. They've suggested strongly that she should, one, either resign or two, be fired. But she's already suggested that's not going to happen. And of course, again, as I stated, the fascist-in-chief has clearly said that he thinks she's doing a good job. So if she's doing a good job, I can't see where he would initiate firing her or even asking for her resignation. The third option, I guess, is impeachment that could, in effect, lead to her being fired formally or replaced. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure of how that process goes, but I think at her level, if she's impeached, she will no longer hold that position. But it's a political football now. Will there be enough people who show up to, in fact, make sure that happens? Everything has been politicized, so I'm not confident that they would have enough bodies to have a formal impeachment.
Well, the two Republican senators came out today.
Okay.
Against her, against No.
Okay.
And of course, the fascist-in-chief called them terrible and losers. Mm-hmm. He went right to his bag. They're terrible. They're losers. What he does. And so there is, say it went to a vote today. Yes, she would be impeached.
Okay.
Because all the Democratic senators would vote against her. And how many Republicans do we need? Just 2 or 3 for it to happen? I'm not positive of that number. But at any rate, like you said, the fascist-in-chief is not going to have her removed. As long as she keeps spreading lies that he likes, she's doing a great job. No evidence of anything. She came out and called him, like you said, domestic terrorists, that he went there to do this, that, and the other. And man, that's the reality, just like you said, Keith. Up is down, down is up, left is right. Diagonal is a square now. I don't know anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I do know. That's.
Oh yeah. We haven't lost sight of reality. That's their reality, and anybody who's willing to embrace it. And oddly enough, there are a lot of people who are still embracing that reality. It's just I don't get how people can see things with their own eyes and be influenced to the point that whatever somebody tell you to see or believe is what you believe. So we, in a sense, have given up our independence to follow one man. And it's a scary time that we're in, guys. It's scary. I appreciate the fact that people are fighting back, or pushing back, I should say.
Right.
And Minneapolis is certainly doing all they can to set the pace. And so the blueprint has been established that when he goes into other cities and states, that people should show up the same way, because the polls are clearly indicating that the majority of folks are unhappy with how he's handling the economy, how he's handling the issue with ICE, and he's just sinking fast.
Yeah, it's funny how they put the spin on the people want to get rid of the criminals, the criminal undocumented workers or immigrants. But the thing is that, everyone agrees to that, but that's not what they're doing. They're snatching up grandmothers, babies, or toddlers, and people
killing people.
People for asylum. So that is not what they voted for. Those who voted for that party, they'll put them in place. But now they're in Maine. I didn't know there was. I knew Minnesota has a very large population of Somalians, but apparently there's some in Maine also. So now they're in the streets of Maine.
Yeah.
Trying
to. They kind of, lighten up this country. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You say lighten up. What do you mean by lighten up?
He said, hey.
Not by gunfire.
He said what he meant and meant what he said.
Right.
Hugh.
They cut off all immigration from Africa.
Yeah.
They cut off all immigration. I think I went over the new numbers a few shows ago. We talked about that.
Yeah.
No, that takes effect now. So, and now he's canceling work visas, nothing. He don't want nothing coming over here.
Right.
From basically from any African country. No. Just no.
No. Right. Was it South Africa?
Oh, yeah, South Africa, If you're an Afrikaner, you come on over.
Yeah, Afrikaner, Right.
He'll send a plane for you, give you some money. Yeah, get you started. Right.
So I was listening to a public radio station, and they were talking to Secretary Jay Johnson, who was the former Homeland Security Secretary. And he, of course, like all Americans, is appalled about the situation. But one of these things was he was saying that and which goes back to what Mike was saying about not being trained. He was saying that the ICE and CBP were not trained for crowd control. That was not their thing. And in my understanding, or what I've heard, is that the administration or the entities that are running, probably Secretary Nome, didn't want the police or state troopers involved to help police. Or I don't know if the governor of Minnesota said, no, we're not going to police this. So I don't know where that... Go ahead,
they're not able to, Mike, they're not able to. When you look at the number of ICE agents within that state and the ratio between the number of cops that Minneapolis has against the ICE agents that are in the state, it would pull them from doing the major work that they do around real crime, okay?
Right.
So if you're asking them to support you in your endeavor, now you're looking away from what's going on day to day in the city, and now you're just an agent of the agents. I mean, you're working in tandem with them, which would prevent you from doing your day-to-day job. And so the governor is saying that's not something that we want to do or that we're able to do. We just can't support that. And so
I guess I'm talking about not just the daily operations of picking up people off the street, but as far as the protests.
Again,
the demonstrations.
The demonstrations, right? But again, that's manpower, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it'll take every police on the force,
right?
But you're talking about manpower, and if they resort to the operation the way it was done in the past, you don't have the same amount of chaos that you have now. You have them on purpose looking for the worst of the worst,
right,
and setting up operations so that they can get to the worst of the worst. But in this case, they're just running roughshod. They're going, like you said, after kids, after elderly people, after people at Home Depot, or heaven forbid if you go to eat some Mexican food. I mean, it's it's just the whole way they're going about their operation is causing chaos and has led to the situation that we're currently in. And so they're saying that the people of Minnesota should refrain and should pull back, but they're not willing to change their tactics. They've replaced, what's the guy's name you mentioned earlier, Tom?
Gregory Bonavino.
They've replaced him, or they're
Tom Homan.
Yeah, which 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
But Tom Homan was he actually was under the Obama administration in that department.
Yeah, well, President Obama did deport a lot of people.
They said millions. Millions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's where most of the criminals went.
But did we know about it?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, my point is, it was done in a way that was less chaotic.
I see.
You didn't hear about people getting killed in the street. It wasn't on the news every day.
No.
Yes, and I don't think that anybody would argue that. I've said it myself during one of the podcasts. If you're here illegally, then there's an argument to be made. Legal, illegal. You can't just break the law.
Right.
right. We can't choose to do what it is we want to do. Yeah. So I don't think anybody would argue the fact that if you're here illegally, then you have to do the right thing, and whether whether it's self-deport or get your paperwork in line, then do it. Or be allowed the opportunity to do it instead of being shipped to some place that you're not even familiar with. You're not even being deported back to where you're from.
Right.
You're being deported to places unknown. And so there's a way to go about doing these things that are more peaceful. There's ways that would be supported by whether it be Republicans or Democrats. I think, like I said, if you really were to take a poll, I think when you talk about legal and illegal, most people are against illegal acts. And so you'd be hard-pressed to support something that's illegal. And so if you do the right thing and do it the right way, you'll have the support that you need. But to say that you're going after the worst of the worst and then do everything but that.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
That's where the issue is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly where it's at. Yeah, everybody in the country is in agreement to get rid of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it is what it is. That's the world we live in. I was watching JD the other day on TV saying that this was right after the Pretti shooting. He was saying they need to work with us. They're making it hard for us to do our job. And what you were saying about the police support. Like Keith said, the police don't have, it's not enough of them to support that operation.
Right.
But he was saying they need to support us. If the police would work with us, if the local officials would support us some more and work with us some more, this wouldn't be happening, blah, blah, blah. Dude, when a fascist regime tries to operate in a democracy, it's supposed to be difficult. Mm-hmm. Period. Because you're not supposed to be operating here. You're not supposed to be here. So, yeah, fascist, if you're going to operate in that manner, yeah, they're going to make it difficult for you. Like we said, President Obama didn't have this issue.
Right.
They certainly cooperated with him when he coordinated. I say he coordinated. The department coordinated with the local people, let them know what's happening. They had their judicial warrants, not administrative warrants, real judicial warrants to go in and remove these people, and he removed them by the millions.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. Bottom line. It didn't get the press, but people weren't being killed in the streets. But the fascist needs press. It got to have some press. And when stuff like this happen, it just feeds his ego, and he just wants more. Yeah. He just wants more. That's what's happening.
The press part, for me, is okay. I think we have to have a free press so that we can know at all times what's going on. The problem for me with them using the press, Fox being a perfect example, is the amount of misinformation that is spread. Yeah. And for him to say that the states, in this case Minneapolis or Minnesota, is not working with them, according to the mayor, that's a complete fallacy. Because if they have somebody in custody and they release that person, the first thing they do is let Homeland Security know. They let them know so that they can do what they need to do to arrest that person or to pick up that person, whatever it be that as it may. The communication part, according to the mayor, I'm not a part of the government of Minnesota or Minneapolis, is that they are working intently. However, that's too much like right. That's not getting to the numbers that he promised, and I think that's the gist of it. Because maybe there are not as many illegals as they supposed there were. And as a consequence, he's all about looking good in the numbers. And so when you start to ship out people indiscriminately, your numbers swell, but there's a lot of errors, there's a lot of mishaps, there are deaths that are going to happen. And to your point, that's how fascists operate. Chaos and misinformation. Chaos and misinformation.
It's funny, I've heard this phrase before, but I actually had to look it up the other day because they started using it here on the news I was watching. Ghosting. And ghosting is basically the George Orwell thing, telling you that, like you say, Keith, all the time, up is down and down is up, But I was like, oh, okay, this is what ghosting is all about.
Yeah. It'll be a great day when we can look past this and it's just in our rearview mirror.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say. I know that a lot of pressure is being put on the fascist in chief and his minions, and they're starting to speak in a way that would lead you to believe that things might change. De-escalate is the catchphrase now for the fascist in chief, and pulling back or minimizing and using words like that. But until they do something, until they take action, it's only words. I just cringe at the thought of somebody who's doing whatever they're doing at this moment that we're having this podcast, unbeknownst to them, joining the movement, the protesters, and not realizing that they could, in fact, lose their life, because it could happen again.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened so quick on the heels of Renee Good's murder. It's just frightening to think that it, one, happened so quickly, but we can't take it for granted because it could happen again soon. And that's the scary part. We have to continue to talk about it. We have to continue to speak the truth. Because like I said, the misinformation, if you don't check into it for yourself, or if you embrace what they say being the MAGA loyalist, then it'll be hard for you to recognize what's true.
Right.
You know, we really have to stay in the game and be aware of what's going on. And a lot of people, I don't like to watch the news, or it's too depressing, or you know what, it's reality. It's our reality. And the more you know, the better off you are. And so, you know, for me, you know, not to prolong it, but for me, it'll be a good day when we can put this in our rearview mirror, and it's just, you know, us looking back and saying, you remember when?
Right.
When we have a conversation, you know, going forward about how bad it was then. Because it's really bad right now.
Yeah, we'll be all sitting in our rocking chairs.
Yeah.
With our tablets in front of us doing FaceTime to each other.
Right.
But will we call it the good old days or just the old days?
It was just the old days. Can't call it good. Can't call it good.
No.
Can't call it good.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. The MAGA, Make America Go Away. That's what apparently that stands for now. So, in closing, gentlemen, I'd like to change the subject real quick. There's a terrible ice storm going on across the country. It's freezing here. The wind chill on Friday is going to be around -20 or so.
30, I heard.
Oh, man. Yeah. Whoa. And did you know that the administration didn't want the weather service and the weather reporters using the term ice so much?
Yes.
In talking about this storm?
Yes.
Because of the negative connotation that ice, you know, if they say, oh, an ice storm is coming, they go, oh, we're afraid. Ice is, you know, you just, it's too much. It's too much. It's just too much, man. It's too much.
Just to add a little bit of humor to that, I saw something, I don't know how true it was. It was on Facebook, so you had to take it with a grain of salt. But it was somebody who was an avid MAGA supporter. They said they would be glad to see when the name is officially changed, and they put an N in front of ICE, so that when people speak about ICE, instead of saying ice, they'll say
nice.
Yeah. Semantics is important.
Oh, yeah. Right. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, guys. That's all the time we have this week. Be sure to hit the follow button to receive a notification when we upload a new episode. To learn more about today's topics, go to the show description. You can also text us. Join us every week by becoming a follower on your favorite streaming service. If you enjoy our podcast, become a supporter. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with the What's Going On podcast.